you can go back to school, and here are ways to pay for it. Whether you're a mom who's been a stay-at-home mom and needs to enter the workforce for the first time or for the first time in a long time, whether you're 50 years old and changing careers, whether you're moving into another country and you can't continue doing what you've been doing, you can find ways to help pay for school. So here are some ways that I have found. By the way, this channel is The Power to Aging. We talk about all things second half of your life. So whether it's ageism, careers, relationships, health, everything. So follow along if this is something that interests you. As far as paying for college goes, there are scholarships specifically for people who are adults. There are scholarships out there specifically for women entering the workforce after being stay-at-home moms. There are scholarships out there specifically for people who are 50 years and older. There are scholarships out there for specific jobs, for older people who are going into a specific career. That could be nursing, that could be finance. There are very specific scholarships that are geared toward people over a certain age. Scholarships are not just for the young. So do yourself a favor and start doing some research. There are some websites that specifically dedicate themselves to listing scholarships. And college kids, or kids just about going into college now for the first time, just out of high school, will be inundating those websites. So you can definitely look, but I suggest you get more specific and niche with your research. So if there's something specific you already know what you want to do, let's say it's nursing or finance or teaching or whatever, start Googling scholarships for those specific careers. And you could say later in life or over 50 with your keywords. Excuse the dog. I'm going to link some in the description of this video that you can check out, but use ChatGPT and use Google. Next place to check is that if you're already currently employed and you want to change your job or you want to move up within your field, go straight to HR and see if they have any higher education programs. I have a friend who got a graduate degree that her job helped fund and allowed time for. So she was still receiving full pay and she was able to get a graduate degree at a great school in New York City. So go straight to your company and see what programs they have for higher education. Next, I want you to check AARP. They do scholarships for people over a certain age. It might be over 65, but go check because AARP is technically open to any age, but they do scholarships. The next place you're going to check is, again, when you have a specific thing in mind, which we don't always do when we're trying to change our lives and change our careers, we don't necessarily know what that's going to be. But if you're thinking something specific, let's say finance, you can go to organizations or nursing that are about those careers and see what support they have for people, older people getting into the career. So what I mean by that is, the nursing board, the medical association, the Association of New York Nurses, there's all these organizations. Go straight to them and see what they have. Another really great and important place to look for scholarships or funding are places like banks, like your local credit union to the biggest banks out there. All companies appear to have some form of scholarships, and they are not exclusive to just people who are 18 and 19 years old. So literally think of every company around you and see what they have going on. If they don't have it listed on their website, call them. Another tactic you can take, which a good friend of mine right now has been a stay-at-home mom for a really long time, and she's going to go back to school. And she knows she wants it to be in the medical field, but she's flexible as to what it is. And she's basing it on what it costs to go back to school and its availability near where she lives. She does not live in a major metropolitan area, so that tends to limit her options. So you can, if you're flexible about what you do next, you can go where the money is. You can go where the programs are. You can go with what's most affordable. Or there's a lot of great opportunities to work for companies where they'll pay for your education if you lock in on promising to be there for another 5+ years. That could be really well worth it for you. Because one thing to keep in mind is that, job security is basically a thing of the past. But if you work for a company, that organization that helps pay for your education, because then that allows them to lock in with you for a number of years, 5, 10, whatever it is. That also means your job is much more secure. And you can relax a little bit into it. There's something about job security that is everything right now. So consider being a little flexible on what it is and where it is. Additional important places to check: Rotary clubs, women's clubs, your Chamber of Commerce, and universities themselves. When looking into seeing about employers paying for tuition, you can use keywords like workplace tuition reimbursement. So that's some of the key wording you can use to Google or to use when approaching your HR department. You might be surprised to learn that website or companies like UPS and Starbucks and Chipotle all offer tuition reimbursement. There's also some great keywords to look up when you're researching all of this, and I'm going to drop a list in the comments or in the description below. But things like adult learners, scholarships for adults over 50, like just keywords to use when you're Googling or ChatGPTing your options out there. There are also tax credits and grants for people returning to school. So there are Pell Grants that you might qualify for. There is a lifetime learner's credit, I think is what it is. I'll put it in the comments below too. But that's up to around $2,000 per year to pay towards your expenses. And you should fill out the FAFSA form, FAFSA. It is what college kids use to see what they qualify for, and you might be surprised what you qualify for. Some colleges offer free tuition to students over a certain age, and some colleges have programs called Encore or Life Reimagined, where they have really discounted tuition based on your age. Some unions have education funds and scholarships for members or family members of their members. So look into unions if you're related to one or in one. And create a scholarship pitch. Write your bio, what your goals are, why they are important, and send it to organizations that you would like to try and solicit a scholarship from. It could be a small business, it could be a big business. Just because they don't currently have a scholarship listed or available doesn't mean it's not worth you pitching it. You might pull in some heartstrings. So that's all for now. Let me know if you've had any clever success with scholarships or funding after a certain age. And when I learn more, I will share it. So be sure to follow and share this with somebody that might find it interesting. Thanks.